Welcome back to the Kiwihooper podcast. Lilly Taulelei. Born in LA, represented the New Zealand national team at a different level. Now playing in one of the toughest NCAA conferences in the USA. We trace her path from the Queen Margaret College to her current role at a top NCAA program, Iowa State. Welcome to the show, Lilly.
Hi, thank you for having me. Super excited.
Who was the tallest person in your family?
I actually think that it's either me or my mum's dad. I'd say he's actually probably still a little bit taller than me, but it's either me or him. I've grown past both my parents now.
And your dad, Walter, he is a big basketball fan.
Mm.
Which NBA team and player did he like?
Oh, he's Lakers. He's always been Lakers his entire life. I've grown up to be a Lakers fan. And his greatest of all time, he'll definitely he's like a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and maybe I'd say Hakeem Olajuwon. He loves the classic players.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Let's move on to your high school. What were your favorite memories in QMC?
QMC, I think just building up the program itself. I think when I had started playing basketball, we weren't known at all. Most people didn't even know that Queen Margaret had a basketball team. And so kind of just growing up throughout the age groups and just progressively getting better each year, playing with my friends, getting to play with people like Paris Lokatui, like that was just such a great era of school basketball in Wellington, and I was just so happy to be a part of that. Like when we were playing against Rosie Malfour, like that's what I kind of grew up playing against. Grace Hunter, all of those girls, Teodoro Sawanga, that was my like school era. And I think my greatest memory will definitely be winning college sport basketball. We won during the COVID year, so it did suck that we didn't get to have the crowd and the school and stuff. But I think that was just such a great final moment for me to say, like I went through and we had won 3-on-3 junior, 3-on-3 nationals, and then we had finally got that college sport dub because I had been in a couple finals the year before. We had just lost, and it was always to St. Mary's, and so to win against Sacred Heart, really glad we won.
Amazing. So you became the first female in New Zealand basketball history to be selected for the Junior NBA Global Championship and were named the captains of the Asia Pacific team. What does it mean to you to carry that first title? And how does the Junior NBA experience shape your leadership style?
It meant a lot to me. I think that I've always grown up from my parents to be a leader, and so to be given that opportunity to be the first and kind of hold that, I would say, like that banner or the baton to be like, I'm the first to do this and kind of show that this is a viable opportunity for people from New Zealand. I think that was the biggest thing. It was more of like what can I represent or what can I inspire people to aspire to do with that whole first title. And so that was really important to me to show people that, it is possible. I wouldn't say that I was a natural born basketball player. I was super lanky. I played netball before I played basketball or anything. And so it's kind of that, like, if you really put your mind and put time into something, then things can be possible for you. How it shapes my leadership style, I think it taught me how to be very understanding that people come from different backgrounds. I think that it raised my emotional, like my EQ, because in the Asia Pacific team, only two of us really spoke English, and so being a captain, trying to get like a message across in a team huddle or trying to communicate plays or what time we need to be at breakfast and stuff like that, it just showed me that I need to be able to adapt and understand that not everybody works under the same conditions or not everybody wants to be yelled at. Some people need so a pat on the back. Some people need to be yelled at in the face. Like you just need to understand who you're working with and how each person can be at their best and how I can get the best out of all of my teammates.
Bet that was a great experience, one to remember. Keep up with the theme of making history. You were part of the Tokomanawa Queens that wins the first ever Tokyo Elite Championship. Tell me about that experience.
I think that's probably one of my highlights for basketball my entire career. Being a part of that team at such a young age was not only great for my basketball skills and kind of developing a little bit more of a competitiveness at a higher level. Playing with women, you're kind of forced to be in an environment where you need to compete. Otherwise, they're just going to kick you off the court and somebody else is going to come on and do it for you. And so being around, women who have lived out their careers and are like moving along with each team, it was just great to be around them. And then getting that taste of winning is really what I feel like has driven me to be more competitive in every environment that I get into, because that was one of the best feelings I've ever had. That kind of just like I said, winning college sport, that felt amazing, but winning the inaugural year of the Tuihi League with the Queens was probably one of the best. We had an amazing crowd in Nelson. And I just think that experience is kind of what has kept pushing me to be motivated, because I want that feeling again. It's like an adrenaline, like you just get addicted to the feeling of winning, and that was one of the greatest feelings of winnings I probably ever have.
What was one of the best advice that you received during that time?
From Jamie Nard when she was on that team, I think she really, when I talked to her just kind of about like getting out of my shell. She was a very blunt person when it came to basketball. Like if you were doing bad, she was going to tell you that you were doing bad. And so she had just kind of talked to me about like you can't be in your head. Like there's no time to be thinking about yourself and all the mistakes that you've made. And I've heard this from my dad my entire life playing basketball, that I just need to move on to the next thing after mistakes. And so I guess hearing it also from Jamie, being like she's gone through her entire career, she really knows what she's talking about, just like my dad does. But just hearing that from her, saying like you got to stay out of your head, you got to keep pushing, and you got to make every opportunity count, because there's only so many that you can get before, like I said, somebody else will come in and do it for you, or take that opportunity you might think that you have but you didn't use you know
Absolutely. The DME Academy, what makes you decide to attend it?
DME was a good experience. Basketball was kind of at that break period in New Zealand where there's not really much going on in the summertime, and I really wanted to get prepared to come over and play college basketball, and so my parents and I decided that I would go to DME for 3 months, and it was a really good experience, just getting used to American college coaching. It's very different from New Zealand, so I needed to get a taste of that. I needed to get a taste of what it's like to be on a schedule of like you where you live in the facility that you're practicing in. So you wake up, team breakfast, go lift weights, eat again, come back, practice, lift again. You might have another shooting workout later, go home, shower, go to class, do all of that stuff, come back, eat dinner, go to sleep, and do that Monday through Friday. Traveling for games, stuff like
Right.
that. It's more of like a preparation of schedule and lifestyle. And then I came home early because I got selected for the Torfins tour around Turkey and Serbia and stuff like that.
Was that the first time that you leave home for such a lengthy period of the time by yourself?
I had done tours before, with playing for New Zealand and things like that, but I that was definitely the longest time away from home. It was nice because my parents did come for a while. My dad stayed with me for a while because he wanted to see the games, make sure that I was settled and stuff. Like I'm an only child, so my parents are they're very protective to make sure that I'm okay. So yeah, my dad did stay for me for a while, but I would say yeah, that was the first and longest time that I've been away from home.
After attending DME, then you went up to UMass. What was that experience like?
I loved the people at UMass. I was really nervous about, choosing a school without being able to visit because I was in New Zealand. And I just didn't have time, and it's very expensive to fly all the way over to visit a school, to fly all the way back home. And so it was kind of just a gut feeling with them, and I really liked what the coach was talking to me about, the kind of program that he wanted to build, and how I would fit into that. I think that was the key thing for me, is that he had a very good vision of how I would fit into the kind of program that he was trying to build. And he was a new coach, so it was kind of like a fresh beginning for everyone, which I really liked the idea of. And I loved my time at UMass. I made some of my best friends during that 1 year there, and I think I really developed myself, which put me in a better position to be able to transfer to a school like Iowa State, because that was not an easy transition. So I could only imagine if I tried to go straight into a school like Iowa State out of New Zealand. Like there, ooh, that would have been tough. And so I think UMass was a really good time for me to, build my confidence, understand where I was lacking in a skill sense, and how to, like I said, do that schedule of school, basketball, travel, games, social life, homesickness, all of that stuff. And so, yeah, UMass felt like a really good place for me to, get my bearings in America and just develop.
Once you finished the season with UMass, you entered the transfer portal. How many school approached you that wanting you to come to their team?
A decent amount of schools. A lot of the schools who had approached me when I was first getting recruited had circled back. And so there was a lot of those. A specific number, I could not tell you. I couldn't think of one. But my key schools were I went on 3 visits, one to Providence, one to BYU, and one to Nebraska, and then I didn't visit Iowa State, but then obviously I ended up committing there. So those were my key offers.
What was one thing that impressed you the most from each school?
Yeah, so Providence really felt like a school that would develop me for a great career in basketball as well as after basketball. I think they had a lot that really matched my degree, and the coaching staff, they were amazing. They really felt like they were like aunties and uncles and just all family vibes. And like my visit, I had never had a visit like that where we went to the coach's house to eat dinner and we did like a team activity. So they just they warmed my heart, and I liked the coaches. She was a very strong woman, and I really liked the idea of having a strong female coach. BYU, same thing. I mean, we have a lot of family in Utah. There's a lot of Maori Polynesian students there. I knew a lot of the girls on the team. There's a lot of people from New Zealand who have gone through that program, so I felt like I had fit their kind of foreign style of play, international style of play. I really liked that. Nebraska, they had the big school, which is what I really wanted. I wanted the full USA experience. If I'm going to leave home for 4 years, I might as well get the most out of it that I can as basketball as well as social life. They had that big aspect. They're a well renowned school. They're in a really tough conference. I really liked the Big Ten. I like their style of play, and I felt like I was really going to be pushed to be a much better player going into a Power Five conference. And then luckily, all of those things came all together when I talked to Iowa State. They had everything that I wanted and more. I think that we have Audie Crooks, who is one of the best centers in the country, and I get to go up against her every single day. And I think that that is just an experience that you can't take for granted. And a lot of people, they have this kind of perception of like, you want to be somewhere where you're going to play 40 minutes, which is amazing. And I had that at a lot of different schools, but I also think that there is a lot of value in the unseen hours of like practice. Who are you going up against every day? How are you getting developed? And I get that here at Iowa State.
That was super insightful. So ultimately, you chose Iowa State. What was that one thing that you saw in the FaceTime call with your Iowa State teammate, Eddie Brown, that impressed you the most?
Something, ooh, that I saw that impressed me. Probably the housing. I am in my apartment right now, and a lot of the student housing, when you come to college, you'll either be in a dorm or you can use some of your stipend to pay for off campus housing and stuff like that. Here we have apartments. It's a 3 bedroom little apartment in a complex, and there's 2 of us to each apartment. You have your own bathroom, big bedroom, couple closets, full kitchen, like a downstairs bedroom for when parents and things come to stay. That was the thing that I would say that I saw that impressed me the most, which is like, because everywhere has a gym, facility, shooting guns, cool locker room, stuff like that. But the housing situation here was fantastic, and is something that I'm very grateful for because it's not something that you get often when you're coming in.
Your role has changed significantly being a starter at UMass, averaging 24 minutes per game to a reserve role in Iowa State. How are you navigating the shift, and what was the most important thing that you have learned about yourself during the period of that adjustment?
The biggest thing for me was that I knew what I was coming into. I don't think that I was too delusional about the kind of role that I was stepping into coming here at Iowa State. It's like I said, I needed time to develop at UMass, and it's the same thing coming into a program like this. You need time to understand who you're playing against, and it's a big jump from the A10, the conference that I was in, to the Big 12. It's two very different things. And so I think something I've learned about myself is that I'm very resilient. I think a lot of people would take that kind of like that shift that you said as something really negative. It's kind of like you can get down on yourself and you're like, oh, I suck. Like I'm not playing as much and da da da. But I think that I've learned I'm very logical and I'm good at putting things into perspective. Things take time. I'm not just going to walk in and play 40 minutes here, play 20 minutes here. There are people who have been established in this program in my position, and so I think what it's helped me do is compete every single day and learn how to push myself regardless of, what other people are telling you about how many minutes you're playing. When it comes to being college basketball player, everybody has something to say. Everybody has an opinion on how you play, how many minutes you do, and stuff like that. And like, it's easy to feed into those opinions, but it's hard to listen to yourself and listen to, the people that really matter to you, which is my coaches, my family, and my teammates, and most importantly, myself. As long as I can keep that positive talk with myself and understand that I'm getting better every day and I'm not the same player that I was when I came here last year, when I went to UMass the first year, or when I played at home, that's what I'm working towards, is just getting, that 1% better every day. And if that comes in practice and I work towards getting minutes, that's what happens. If it doesn't, it just got to work harder.
Great mindset. That's a great advice, especially for the young athletes that are considering entering the transfer portal. So, what's life like in Iowa?
Very different to New Zealand. The Midwest is nothing like home. It is very different. I love it here. I think it is a small community of people, which it's Iowa is a big state. The city that I'm in, Ames, it's decent size. But I love it here. I think everybody is in love with women's basketball, and that's what I really like about it here. Like, I'll be in the supermarket and people will walk up and high five me and be like, "Good luck on the season, like women's basketball." And I'm like, "Hey, don't know you," but they are so lovely here, and I love my team. I think that they are just really good at everyone's a great teammate here, and my coaches, they care about me. They're always checking in on me, checking about my parents and stuff like that, making sure they're accommodated when they come and visit. Day-to-day life it's hard. It's pretty hard here. It's very different. We have a very strict schedule, a very upbeat schedule. We do a lot, and so I think keeping that balance is sometimes pushes me to a point, but I love it here.
Amazing. And Iowa State's Hilton Coliseum is legendary for its fan
Yep.
support. Apart from that,
hmm
what was one of the most impressive arena that you have been in? Like the atmosphere make you go, wow, this is crazy.
I would probably say our football stadium. In terms of just like a stadium itself, our football stadium is insane. I have never been around so many people. I have never witnessed the kind of like, I don't know if it's a connectivity or kind of magnetism that our Jack Tri Stadium has, but just like when everybody's in there and everyone's going for Iowa State, it's the best thing ever. Basketball stadium, when we played at Iowa, that was pretty intense. Their stadium isn't as big as ours, but the shape of it is like the stands come down, and so it just kind of feels like everyone's looking down on you and yelling down at you, and so playing in there was crazy, especially post Caitlin Clark. Their fans are way up, and it's a rivalry game for us, and so luckily that game is home for us this year because last year we played at Iowa. So yeah,
Almost sounds like a gladiator bowl where you battle it out.
that's what it felt like.
Oh man, that's amazing. Are there any aspect of New Zealand culture that you're trying to bring into the Iowa State locker room?
Into the locker, I think that's mostly just me being myself. I think that I'm a very talkative, very happy person. I think that comes a lot with, the way I've been brought up, is to be very chirpy, chatty, always kind of looking at like glass half full kind of thing. I'm loud at practice. I think that's a big thing. I talk a lot. I'm always yelling, and so I think that that's definitely one thing I bring in. Slang, my teammates all love. They start picking up my words, which I love, is my favorite. So yeah, that's probably, and food. Sometimes I make them try like Whittaker's chocolate and stuff like that, which they love.
You have to make them try Whittaker chocolate. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
They will all love to, grab it anyways, I believe.
No. They're so hard headed that their chocolate is better than ours, but no, it's not.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Tell me about your ankle injuries. What was the hardest thing about overcoming that challenge?
Yeah, that was this time last year actually, and it was probably one of the worst ankle injury I've ever had. It was a lateral ankle sprain, and I was out for about 4 or 5 weeks. Supposed to be 6 weeks, but I just kind of pushed myself in rehab because I was so sick of being injured. It really sucked. It really put me behind. I had already missed the first summer session here I was just at home with my family. It was like they had given me the first part of summer off because I needed time to be at home. And so I had already missed that, and then coming in, basically trying to play catch up the entire summer, finally getting to a good point, getting injured, missing the entire preseason and the first 5 preseason games. It really just puts a stunt on your ability to grow in the program because, like I said, the basketball is a business. If you can't do what they need you to do, then there is somebody right behind you ready to fulfill that spot. And so being injured and then trying to come back, it was just kind of a really hard year for me in that sense. The injury itself, like I said, wasn't great, and it's definitely still my ankle still isn't the same in terms of my movement being able to go laterally off my right side isn't as strong. It's getting back to normal, but it's just really annoying. And it was just probably my lowest point of last year was when I got injured.
Fully understandable. Nothing worse than having an injury for athletes, especially as a basketball player. Ankle injury is the worst. Let's shift gear a little bit. What is a book, movie, or a song that you truly feel understands you?
A book, movie, song. I think a movie, this one's gonna be kind of funny, but there's a movie called Nacho Libre, and the only reason I say it understands me is because it is like such a good representation of my childhood. Because me and my cousins loved that movie, and I feel like that kind of like joyfulness that movie brings people is a big part of my personality. That kind of like joking around, those little things, that reminds me a lot of my family, which I love. But yeah, me and my cousins to this day will like go back and forth quoting that movie every time we see each other. Like we call each other Nacho and stuff like that. I love that movie. Um, a song. I really like the song "A House Is Not a Home" by Luther Vandross. I mean, the song is about a relationship, but that's more for me is about family. You know, like a house without love and family is just a house, and you put the people that you love in it, and it becomes a home. So that's the song that I love.
Amazing. That's a great taste of music, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
what is a piece of advice that you have received that you initially ignored, but later realized that was absolutely right?
Um, I think this one would probably come from my parents. They would every time I'm really hard on myself. I'm an overthinker, and I will definitely be my worst critic, my own worst critic. I think my parents a lot would tell me like it's not that serious. And I would be like, but it is that serious. Like I missed that layup, and if I hadn't missed that, then they would have done this and like I will go on and on like that. And they'll try to slow me down and be like, it is not that serious. Basketball is just a game. You're still a good person. Nobody got hurt. Your family loves you. You love you. It is okay. And I think I always overlooked that until I got to college. And I was like, wow, like I really do. Like my coaches will come up to me and be like, why are you so hard on yourself? And I'm like, huh, maybe I am. Maybe it isn't that serious. Like, I think that I really get myself into that rut. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that. And I think you just need a kind of a word. Like now I say to myself, like, next one, like it's not that deep. It is not that serious. My favorite thing parents always say, nobody got hurt. We still love you. You still love you. Breathe. That's a big one.
That's brilliant. What is something that you're deeply grateful for but never expressed?
Health and wealth. I think that it is something that we people take for granted, being healthy. Just waking up every day and being healthy. I think that yeah, that is something that people take for granted sometimes because like things can switch, especially like obviously shout out to her family. I hope she resting in love. Tiana Mankahia, she passed away. You know, there's somebody who lived life to her fullest every single day, and that's like something you can't take for granted. Is just being able to be healthy and being able to live your life as you please with the strength in the body that you have. I don't think I ever really expressed it enough, just how even being injured I was able to recover, stuff like that, just being healthy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think that's really important for people to understand that that's the foundation of life. Without that, you can't really do anything else, really.
Yeah.
I know you lost someone very important to you, your grandfather. And what is one thing that you wish you could tell your grandfather about the person you have become today?
um hmm. Sorry, sometimes I still cry about this. um
Take your time.
thing I would tell him. Probably that I still get good grades. That was his biggest thing for me. Was school. So yeah, probably that. Still doing good in school. Now I'm a double major. Getting good grades. He loved the basketball stuff, but he's cared more about school. So I'd probably say that I'm very independent, and I'm getting good grades.
Pretty sure he's very proud of you on the person that you become today, for sure. What is your advice to your 12-year-old self?
I think probably what I said before, that my parents had told me that it's not that serious. I think that my overthinking started straight away when I started playing basketball. My coach, literally Buzz Crawford, one of my favorite coaches. He would always just look at me and laugh and be like, "Don't get mad. What are you so mad for? Why are you so mad?" And he will to this day will put me in drills that he knows will make me mad, so that I can teach myself to not get mad. He still does it, and I'm 20 now, and he still knows how to push my buttons in the right way. It is insane how well he knows me. But yeah, just tell myself, it's not that serious. No one got hurt. Your family still loves you. But just because you missed that layup doesn't mean that the world is gonna end. You know what I mean? Like, I think I just got way too much in my head, and it just, you're 12. It's okay.
Amazing. Okay, I got a question from our last guest.
What is something that people don't know about you as an athlete?
I think people probably won't know that I have a very particular game day process. Like, I really have my things that I need to check off on my list to make sure that I have, I got to have things I need to work through on my game day. That, and I used to do dragon boating, and I loved that sport.
It's huge in Wellington. I remember seeing those racings in harbors, people doing practice. Yeah, they sound pretty intense.
It is so much fun.
So what is your question for our next guest? Lastly, do you have any question for me?
Yes, I would like to know where you think the future of New Zealand basketball is going. Do you think more players are going to try to go to college, or do you think with the league that they're just going to try and go straight into the pro leagues?
That is an excellent question. I think the pathway is multiple, right? College basketball is not end all be all. You don't have to come to US to study in college and play college basketball to be a great player. You could develop locally. You could go to Australia. You could even go to Asia, which we've seen a lot of people playing in Japan as well. So there's a multiple pathway, or you can become a development player in NBL. Future's looking bright for New Zealand basketball, because I really think that we're currently in a New Zealand basketball golden age with so many athletes in playing college basketball in the United States. I mean, there's no other place in the world that can give you that type of competition and that can give you that type of development. However, for that being said, Australia got some really awesome institute, and they got a really good system to develop player as well. I just hope that one day New Zealand will have enough facility for everyone and some good coaches. I'm pretty sure they're working really hard on developing that. So with the women's league especially, super proud of what the women's league has done so far, the way that they're developing young players and also give opportunity for those college players come home to play and showcase for the local crowd, inspire the next young hoopers. If I had someone like that from my neighborhood be able to achieve what they achieve and play in high level like this, I'd be able to do it too.
I agree.